Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about social skills and if they keep on mattering as you go through your career. So let's get into it. So the question in question was a bit of a story, but it basically went as part of a response actually to another video that I made about the topic of social skills and how important it is in many cases that a junior developer is actually a sociable person, because a company very often they value your enthusiasm and your potential more than your actual skill. And if you are poor at communicating how enthusiastic you are, many companies may mistake that for you being unmotivated or that you're not going to be a good time to have around. So this person writes to me, "Hey Fredrik, I agree with everything that you said. I personally was hired as a junior developer because at the interview I was quite calm and relaxed because I thought I wasn't going to get the job, so I had nothing to lose. And because I was super enthusiastic about coding and all that stuff, I actually got the job. And after some time working, everybody was super excited to work with me because I was like the most sociable developer they had ever worked with. So I guess my previous experiences in more social professions gave me a bit of an edge. However, I'm just curious, after some time in the industry, does the coolness and the social skills matter that much? As a more mature developer trying to get a middle level or a senior position, will they look for social skills this much? Thank you in advance for reading my reply." No worries, mate. This is what keeps the lights on. Not money or like cute cats, but I can add a few cats if you really want to. It's these questions that, so of course I'm going to read them, don't worry about it. So to summarize this as quickly as I can, yes, the social skills will matter. Not necessarily, it depends a little bit, but not necessarily as much as on the first job, because as I said in this previous video, the issue with you being a junior is that you don't get hired based on skill as much as you are being hired based on potential, because once you get out of college, or you're self-taught, or however you go about getting your coding skills, you know nothing about how to work as a professional software developer. And that's the thing that I've said many times, and you probably have noticed if you're trying to get a job, that's the thing that everybody cares about. Now, that means that if I'm going to invest in you as an employer, I want to make sure that you are the best investment. Just as I want to hire the best developers, I want to hire the best trainees, if that makes sense, or junior developers. So the social skills matter a lot then, because then that's like your only bargaining chip. Your only bargaining chip as a junior developer is that, oh, you're really, really passionate and you spend a lot of energy and time on your craft, so you're going to learn really, really quick. That's your selling point. And if you're not able to socially communicate that, or if you're an asocial type of person, that's not going to work in your favor, because people are not going to believe that you're going. One part is that you're probably not going to be able to communicate it effectively, and the other part is that who's going to believe that you're going to learn really, really quickly if you're, I don't know, very timid or like unable to actually talk to people. I'm not saying that it's the end of the world if you're a little bit shy. I'm just saying that having a strong social presence during the interview is a very good thing, because it communicates all the right things. But there are of course people who are a little bit more on the shy side that communicate this potential, because that's the thing, the potential is the important part. But once you get to be a mid-level or a senior developer, things change a little bit. The social aspect is still going to play in. It's going to vary, just as it does for even for a junior developer. How social you need to be or how good you need to be with people is going to vary every single time. Some companies are going to go very heavy on it, and some companies are going to go less heavy on it. But even as a senior developer, it's going to factor in. And especially when you get to the level where your seniority is actually going to influence other people. So there are absolutely companies who will not really care all that much about your social skills, depending on what role they're hiring you for. But quite a lot of companies are going to care a lot about that you have fairly good communication skills, structural skills, and administrative skills, and so forth, apart from the coding skills. Because if you're going to pay a senior developer, you're gonna lose money unless they are doing something that is more than just plain coding like all the other developers. In many cases it's not a very sustainable business model to just hire senior developers. Like, the real seniors cost a lot of money, and what you're after is their experience. And the worst scenario, which I've talked to so many people who have been in this situation from the junior perspective and managers and so forth, and I know for a fact that even my own company has turned down senior developers that have had like shown indications of this issue, where you will hire a senior developer who is a social lone wolf or something like that, and you can't. It's pointless. Like, they're just causing problems within the company. They are not actually, even if they themselves might be able to produce fairly well on one story, that doesn't matter all that much, because in the whole sphere of all the people who are going to have to contribute in order to make the project a success, they're actually causing more problems than they're actually helping, even if they themselves can code very well. I have one of those stories from my previous job where, and this was like, it was like a nightmare. I really pity. I really feel sorry for my old hiring manager who had to deal with this senior. So this was a back-end senior who had worked for, I think, 15 years in that company, and he decided that, hey, you know what? No, I want to be a front-end developer for some reason. And he was the embodiment of the lone wolf. But the problem was that he wasn't actually very good at front end development. He made tons of mistakes, built the wrong things, didn't know how to work with any of the new tools or anything like that. And you see, had he been a social person, this would have not been a problem. But the company was forced to a point. Like, my manager had to have like private coaching sessions with him, because he would simply not work with anybody else. And the manager he only worked with because he forced him to do it. And whenever he got a piece of work, he would sit in isolation and just work on that thing, even if it took a long time, even if it didn't actually work out. It didn't matter. He did not care about anybody outside of himself. And so here, this company, even though they could afford it, they're paying this guy a senior level salary, like this enormous amount of money, and he can't even outproduce as a junior developer. That's like the nightmare scenario. And I've had other stories with other people that I've talked to, both privately outside of this little channel of mine, and even people who have been here, who have been in the situation where they have seniors who will crush the other developers in the company. They will actually be, like, I'm talking sabotage level. It was some of the craziest stories I've ever heard was when my friend Stefan came and visited me here in Gothenburg. He told his story. I actually had, you can go and watch or listen to the talk, and that's like the craziest thing I've ever heard. A senior developer who like hides code, tries to pretend like he didn't do work, and tries to crush every single idea that this person has. This is like a cancer. So a lot of companies, like the really thick ones who don't actually know how to how to develop systems in an effective way and like structure teams well, they will ignore these sorts of warning signs because they're blindsided by the years of experience and the seniority. But the companies who actually know what the hell they're doing will be aware that the social factor actually plays in. It may not be the only thing, but it's gonna play in, and that is true for most of the normal, I'm just doing quotation marks on now, the normal companies are going to realize that, if you're going to have someone and you're going to pay them a lot of money and they're probably going to have a lot of influence, it's probably a good idea that they at the very least get along with everybody in the existing company. It's becoming increasingly more common that companies will actually allow the team that person is going to join to be part of the interviewing process, so they kind of get a feel for what type of coworker they're getting. And if they don't like that person, they're allowed to say so, and they might not actually hire that person, because as you can imagine, it's not a good idea to hire someone nobody likes working with. It's going to disrupt work. So what I want you to take away from this is that it is always going to be a factor that you have some social skills. I'm not saying that you have to be the life of the party, and nobody's asking you to do that. I'm saying be a normal, decent human being, be genuinely nice to other people and a little bit transparent about yourself, and just communicate about, like, transparently, be transparent about who you are, and talk to people and take an interest in other people. Empathy. It's that simple. Nobody is asking you to sit there and crack jokes or do a stand-up routine or anything like that. It's just about you understanding that whenever you join a group, this always happens. It doesn't matter which group it is. It doesn't have to be a company. It can be like a friend circle, whatever. What's the first instinct that you should have if you're going to be accepted by that group? Well, probably smile, have some open body language, try to talk to people, ask them some questions, get to know them a little bit. That's all it takes. It's not a big deal for most of us. And for those where this is really tough, I urge you, invest a little bit into this, and it's going to be rewarded back tenfold. Have a great day.